Hi replayers, thanks for coming by. Hi Karen, nice to see you. I know that you suggested a little while ago, maybe 2 or 3 days ago, that you would like to see the decals and the decal process. I think that's a great idea. I'm going to do that, but not today. I promised 3 or 4 days ago to show how I trim. Thought I was kind of doing something different, found out after watching Periscope for a couple of days that I am not all that unique, so that's kind of funny. But I promised it, so here it is. I'm going to turn this around so you can get set up so you can see. Here's my setup. Here we are. Oh, I guess I turned it around the wrong way. Let's turn it back this way, I guess. And get set up here. I'm going to go grab a bowl. And they are drying super unevenly today. Not sure what's going on with that. Let me know if my music in the background's too loud. I can go turn that down. I'm also going to try something here where I watch myself maybe, and maybe I can see your questions and your comments. Let me turn that down. Oh, here we go. All right, looping. So I'm going to have my other screen going so I can read your comments, because I can't see it on my phone so well. So I just I trim straight on my wheel head, and it's pretty wet. This bowl is kind of on the dry side. And yeah, they're popping right off the bats. Usually I like to have them a little bit wetter than this, but they're doing all right. So I'm not a tap center person. I have never gotten the skill for that. I have in the past used a Giffen grip. I used to use a Giffen grip all the time because I used to throw these bowls across the studio. I'd get too excited and they go flying. So I just kind of use my thumb and do a gentle adjustment. And so my wheel has a little bit of a wobble in it. I always kind of has had a bit of a wobble in it. And that telegraphs to the bottom of the pot. So if you notice the wobble, I will correct it in my trim. And the pots usually end up really nice and level and even. So anyway, Karen, I was talking about that decal thing. I think that's a great idea. I have a couple of firings to do before I can get to that point. But I'm curious if anybody would be interested in seeing like the printing and the Photoshop part of that, or if you're just interested in the application of the decals, because I can do that too, either way. Always make sure I have enough toner in my printer before I start printing those decals, because I do the HP laser printer. So I use basically these two tools. So let's see, let me show that here. Curious about anything I want to share. Okay, I sure will. We might just start the whole process from the beginning. So oh, you throw in trim and glaze. Good. Dory, all right. Hi, Dory. How are you? This is just a Dolan tool. This is a Kemper tool. It has that end on it and that end on it. And then this one is the one that's pretty thin. It's got a pretty thin blade. I still have the original from my pottery toolkit from 2003 when I first took my first class. I don't use that as often anymore. Then the other thing that I use is this sculpting rubber tipped tool, and I'll show you how and why I use that as well here. So I basically just centered the bottom of the foot here, and it is showing a little bit off still. I'm going to move that over just a bit. It's like my bowl maybe off just a tiny touch. It's pretty sealed to the wheel head here. Now let's move up here. Let's see how we're doing. All right. So this morning, I had my 6-year-old helper in here. Well, she's not 6 yet. She'll be 6 on Monday next week. I'm getting used to the idea that she's turning 6. And she was painting and having all kinds of fun, and I was distracted. And I dropped a wearboard of bowls I just trimmed. It took me a little bit to get over that. I might have to learn to be a little more focused and less distracted when she's in my space. She's pretty cute though. She's been making handmade pinch pot bowls, and if this doesn't take too long, I'll show you those just because I'm a proud mama of a creative kid. She got it in her mind that she could make critter bowls, and I think it's a great idea. I don't know if she came up with that on her own or if she saw it somewhere. And if you think I'm throwing stuff on the floor, I'm not actually. I have a big old 5-gallon bucket over here. I throw my shavings in there as much as I can. It helps with the recycling process. And then after it gets full enough, I have a bigger bin sitting over here in the corner, I'll show you in a minute, that I throw all my various reclaim into. And at some point, I tell myself every summer I'm gonna reclaim my clay. It's pretty nice today. It's like 50 degrees outside, Montana for crying out loud. 0 degrees on the East Coast. I don't know what happened to our winter, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I get that stuff reclaimed this year. It might happen. Or not. Okay, so I'm putting a bevel. So the inside of the foot is, I like the inside of the bowl, the bottom part of the bowl to be rounded. I like the inside of the foot to be pretty deep. I also like a bevel. So when I first started taking classes and learning from some of the residents at the Bray, the Archie Bray Foundation in Helena here, my first teacher was Junior Kane. And he makes these just amazingly perfect, they look commercial. I mean, they're like, I just don't know how to describe his work. I'll have to look up his work. And he taught me, my first impression with pottery was that things need to be very clean and very straight, not a lot of the showing of the hand. And so, I guess those kinds of things stick with you. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I've been trying to break away from that, even though it's been a bit challenging. Here's that rubber tipped tool. I use that to refine this spot between the foot and the bowl and make it smooth. Sometimes it gets pretty tight and I can't quite get my finger in there, and I like that to be smooth. That's a good glaze catcher. But I like to have, I missed that. Hi Sue, how are ya? Sorry about that. Something about throwing and trimming. I missed that comment. The bevel on the inside and on the outside of this foot, so that it's flat and then there's a bevel, and then it goes flat again and then there's a bevel on the inside here where it meets the body of the pot. And I like to have that be nice and smooth, and I like those transitions. Yes, I like to try to do that. Unfortunately, the weather's been weird. I've been trying to control the humidity. I'm in a new space. I very much like to throw one day and trim the next if I can. I also use plaster in the bottom of some big bins to hold stuff if I need to for a period of time. Okay, so now here's my chop. I'm just gonna put that in there, pull that off. I like to check the rim, see if I need to do any repairs here. Just a little bit where that lip kind of stuck to the wheel head a little bit. So there's the inside, and here is the back side. I'll turn that around like that. So you can see bevel, 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 and so that's how I like to trim those pots. Now when this is dry, of course it's still pretty wet. I thought it was a little drier, but I like to hold my bowls like this. That kind of gives you a sense of scale, how big that is. So this is started out as 1.5 pounds of clay. It's pretty thin, and these rings here, these throwing rings, when I apply my glaze to this, it will cause that to catch a little bit and move a little bit, and that helps give me a sort of a lacy finish in my glaze at the end of the day. So this is me throwing a bowl, or I'm sorry, trimming a bowl, and let me put that down here. And just real quick, I was going to show you guys, so that's the bowls I got that I haven't thrown on the floor today after I got distracted with my daughter. And let me flip that around. The bowls that I dropped on the floor in the garbage now, let's see. And oh, I was going to show you, so she's been in here creating with me. This is why I've been distracted. So she's turning 6 next week. That's her birthday cake. And this is a kitty bowl. Isn't that cute? Thanks for the hearts for that. I just think it's so awesome. So she asked me to throw her a bowl, and so I did. And she attached the eyeballs and the ears, and there's a tail. I don't know if you can see the tail there. Cute little twisty tail. And so this morning she was making a dog. This is supposed to be a dog bowl, right? So with the legs and the feet. I'm glad you guys appreciate this as much as I do. We have a little sponge under here because his eyeballs were a little heavy. So we'll see if that helps dry it a little bit. She's making a snail. That's a snail for our garden, because what garden doesn't need a snail? And then these are also for our garden. So I think this is supposed to be a cake too. This is the flame. She's very excited for her birthday. So anyway, I just appreciate you guys humoring me and letting me show you that. She also she's been painting like crazy today. She got paint kind of all over the place, but she's making some fun drawings. She thought this was pretty funny. She cracked herself up with the dogs with the mustaches and the long hairs. So anyway, that was it for me today. Yes, a very fun day. It's getting used to a new space and sharing space with each other, and President's Day, she gets to stay home, and that's pretty awesome. So anyway, I appreciate you guys joining me. Like I said, pretty much trimming bowls, not a big deal, but promised I'd do it, so here I am. You bet. Karen, thanks for coming back and watching. Hoping to fire. I've got a question into Scott about my kiln. Because I moved it, I have some concerns about running a bisque before I do any tests. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it. So I'm hoping to fire next week, do a bisque kiln. My husband's a little nervous about the kiln in the basement, so he wants us home, and I don't want to be in the space when I'm firing, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But in any case, we'll see how the bisque goes. I'm going to do some test tiles. We'll see how the test tiles come out, and then I will be back at some point showing some glazing processes and decals. I think that we'll start with the photoshopping aspect of it, some photography, and then we will move through the printing process and the sizing process, because sometimes that's, you have to figure out the size that you want to go on your pot, scale, all of that kind of thing. Yeah, you bet. I'm glad you're excited about that. And I'll make notes for myself next time so I can keep my train of thought. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Happy President's Day to those in the U.S. And just a happy, great day for the rest of you guys. Thanks very much. Peace out. Thanks, Jamie.